Hey guys, as y'all can tell by the size of these plants right here, it's getting about time to start picking some tomatoes. If y'all saw Donald's video recently where he and Carly were out there planting those Cooster leaves, this is kind of what he's talking about that plant's going to do. This is the same cages he used, about a 5-foot cage. Come out the top of the cage and his will come down on the ground and go out about 40 foot on both sides, pretty near make a hedgerow. But this one right here, you can see she just kept on growing, but this is a great big old tomato plant right here. Looking at these things right now, I think it's time to start doing a little bit of picking. They have filled out very well down there, those first clusters or two. This is the first 2 dozen plants that I put in the ground. And from what I've seen, Rutgers most of the time, the first couple of clusters are where the prettiest tomatoes are going to be. The ones that'll go over a pound, sometimes a pound and a half. These things are just beautiful. Looking down this outside row right here, pretty much more the same. These are the youngest plants right here, but even at that, they still have some nice looking tomatoes down there that need to be picked. So I've got 56 plants in here. I don't know exactly what kind of production I should be looking for, maybe 25 pounds per plant, something like that. But we'll go conservative and just call it 20. See if we can get about 1,100 pounds or so out of this greenhouse. I think that would be pretty good. I'd be happy with that. Right now what I'm going to do is see if I can get a couple pounds off of each plant. Go ahead and pick the first 100 pounds or so. I was pretty close on the weight of these things. I just weighed everything, weighed them in the containers, and came out to 103. I was just trying to get 100 pounds. So we'll knock off 3 pounds for the tubs and just call it 100 pounds even. That's not bad for the first little picking in there. Gonna be a whole lot more to come after these right here. These aren't gonna hold up as well as some of the big beefs I've been picking lately. These are a much softer tomato. As soon as you pick them, you probably got a couple of days at most or something like that. Well, you need to go ahead and do something with these. Typical of most heirlooms, they got real thin skins, and once they get ripe, they're ready to go. They're not made to be handled a whole lot, bounced around and thrown up on the counter, that kind of deal. They're ready to eat as soon as you pick them. Now I got to figure out what to do with these things. Well, after I looked at all those tomatoes, I knew I need to get on the phone and start finding some help. So I called my buddy up the road, the old guy that works at the local Southern State store, and talked to his wife, asked her if they could use some tomatoes. She said, sure, send Charles on over here. So he showed up. I was going to give him 1 tub. And I asked him, said, Charles, is 1 tub of tomatoes going to be enough for y'all? He said, well, I could take 1 more and take it to my neighbor. That's another guy that lives next door to him that's about 70-some years old. I like looking after the old folks. They take a tub of tomatoes like that, and they know what to do with them. They'll have them things canned up, froze, or something real quick like. So that left me just the 1 big tub and a small white one. And I explained the situation to my wife, went inside, and she agreed to go ahead and can a bunch of those. So she canned up 12 quarts. Absolutely beautiful looking tomatoes. Hard to beat a Rutgers. I know I've said it plenty of times before. I've been growing these things for a few years now, and as far as flavor, production, and decent growing habits, it's hard to beat this thing right here. So there's going to be a whole lot more of them. Got a fella coming up from north of Richmond this weekend. Hope he brings him a couple 5-gallon buckets and a wash tub. We'll go through and pick out a bunch of these things and be able to share with somebody else. I'm just getting started picking on these things, looking at the blooms that are still on them and the little small tomatoes that are still forming. It's going to be a lot of tomatoes come out of this little bitty greenhouse. A lot of them. So if you've never grown Rutgers before and you've been growing tomatoes and still haven't found just the right one that fits your needs and what you're trying to accomplish out of growing a tomato, give it a shot. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I know I'm not. So y'all take care, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time.